What if I told you that your attention is worth more than gold? In the digital age, your focus isn't just valuable, it's a new currency, and big tech companies are making billions of it. But here's the thing, while they are getting rich, you are left feeling drained and overwhelmed. So how do we flip the coin and take back control of our most precious asset? It's crazy how these big companies are basically fighting over your eyeballs. They want you to keep scrolling, keep watching, keep clicking. And it's working. In 2023, global net advertising revenue hit 853 billion. But what's the real cost? I mean, sure, we get free stuff online, but are we really getting a good deal? In this video, I'm gonna break down how this attention game works, why it's messing with our heads, and most importantly, how we can start playing by our own rules. By the end of this video, you will see your attention in a whole new light. So let's talk about how we end up here. It's wild to think that just a couple decades ago, the internet was this new exciting thing. Now it's basically running our lives. Back in 1997, Michael Godhaber made a prediction that blew everyone's minds. He said attention was gonna be the new currency. Forget money, forget gold, our eyeballs are gonna be the hottest commodity. And he was right. Think about it. We used to measure wealth by how much stuff we had. Big house, fancy car, designer clothes, but now it's all about likes, views and followers. Your Instagram following is basically the new Rolex. But here's the thing, the shift didn't just happen by accident. These social media platforms, they are designed to keep us hooked. It's like they've got a direct line to our brains or something. Have you ever noticed how you open up TikTok to watch one video and suddenly it's 3 hours later? That's not a coincidence. These apps are built to keep us scrolling. The infinite feed, the autoplay videos, the personalized content, it's all there to make sure you never put your phone down. And it's working. Americans now spending over 7 hours a day on social media. 7 hours. That's almost a full workday just staring at screens. And get this, that's a 31% increase from just 10 years ago. It's like we are in this massive experiment and we are the lab rats. These companies are basically competing to see who can keep us glued to our screens the longest. And they are making bank doing it. But here is what really gets me. We think we are in control, right? Like, oh, I can stop scrolling anytime I want. But can we really? These platforms are so good at grabbing our attention, we don't even realize it's happening. You know that feeling when you are trying to work, but your phone keeps buzzing with notifications? And you tell yourself, I'll just check it real quick. Next thing you know, you've spent 20 minutes scrolling through Instagram. That's the attention trap in action. And it's not just about wasting time. These companies are literally shaping what we see, what we think about, even how we feel. They are curating our entire online experience, all to keep us engaged and coming back for more. It's like we are living in this giant attention marketplace. Everyone's fighting for a piece of our focus, and we are not the ones paying the price. But here's the million-dollar question. What exactly is the price? I mean, sure, we get all these free services, social media, search engines, video platforms. We don't pay a damn to use them. But are they really free if we are giving up our attention, our data, and maybe even our peace of mind? How many times have you caught yourself mindlessly scrolling when you should be doing something else? Or feeling anxious because you haven't checked your phone in a while? That's the real cost of this problem. It's not just about wasted time. It's way more serious than that. You know how people joke about having the attention span of a goldfish? Well, turns out it's not really a joke anymore. Our attention spans have actually shrunk to less than that of a goldfish. We are talking about 8 seconds for us humans, compared to 9 seconds for those little orange fish. But why is this happening? It's simple, we are constantly bombarded with notifications, alerts and endless streams of content. Our brains are on overdrive trying to process all this information. It's like we are always in the fight or flight mode. But instead of running from predators, we are just scrolling through our phones. And it's not just our attention spans that are suffering. Let's talk about mental health for a second, especially for teens. This is getting really serious. Did you know that over 1 in 3 teens are dealing with persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness? That's a 40% increase since 2009. And it's not a coincidence that this lines up with the rise of social media. 77% of US teens use YouTube daily. That's a lot of time spent comparing themselves to others, feeling like they are not good enough or missing out on something. It's no wonder so many young people are struggling. But it's not just teens. I've talked to so many content creators who feel like they are drowning in this attention economy. They are constantly stressed about engagement rates, viewer retention, and algorithm changes. It's like they can never switch off. I remember chatting with this YouTuber friend of mine. He told me he hadn't taken a proper day off in months because he was so worried about losing momentum. He would wake up in the middle of the night to check his analytics. That's not a healthy way to live, right? And it's not just content creators. Have you ever felt that phantom buzz in your pocket, like your phone is vibrating even when it's not? That's your brain craving that hit of dopamine from a new notification. We have been conditioned to constantly seek validation and information from our devices. Tristan Harris, who used to work as a design ethicist at Google, put it very well. He said, "Behavior design can seem lightweight because it's mostly just clicking on screens. But what happens when you magnify that into an entire global economy? Then it becomes about power." And that's exactly what's happening. These big companies have so much power over our attention and by extension our lives. They are shaping how we think, what we care about, even how we feel. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to be slaves to our notifications or prisoners of the algorithm. We can take back control of our attention. I know what you're thinking. Easy for you to say. You are part of this problem. And yeah, I get it. I'm not perfect. I struggle with this stuff too. But that's why I'm making this video, because I think we all need to wake up to what's really going on. So how do we break free from this attention trap? Well, the answer might surprise you. It's not about ditching technology altogether or going off the grid. It's about being more intentional with how we use it. Alright, so we have seen how this attention economy is messing with our heads. But here is the million-dollar question. How do we break free? How do we take back control of our most valuable asset, our attention? Let's talk about digital detox strategies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Digital detox sounds like some hippie nonsense. But trust me, this stuff really works, and it's not about throwing your phone in the ocean or living in a cave. It's about setting boundaries with technology. Would you let a stranger walk into your house anytime they want? Of course not. So why are we letting apps and notifications barge into our brains 24/7? It's time to put some walls. Start by turning off notifications. Yeah, I know it's scary. What if you miss something important? But here's the thing, most of that stuff isn't actually important. It's just noise. And all that noise is keeping you from focusing on what really matters. Next up, create designated offline times. Maybe it's the first hour after you wake up, or the last hour before bed. Use this time to read, meditate, or just stare at the wall. Trust me, your brain will thank you. Now let's talk about something called attention inequality. It's this crazy idea that in the content creation world, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But instead of money, we are talking about attention. Big creators with millions of followers, they got all the eyeballs. Meanwhile, smaller creators are struggling to get noticed. It's like trying to shout in a crowded room where everyone else has a megaphone. So what do we do about it? Well, if you are a content creator, it's all about finding your niche. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Focus on what makes you unique. And remember, it's not just about getting attention, it's about keeping it. Create stuff that's actually worth people's time. But here is where it gets really interesting. You can actually use technology to fight technology. There are these awesome apps out there that can help you block distractions. Freedom, for example, lets you block specific websites or apps for a set period of time. It's like having a bouncer for your brain. I've got this friend, let's call her Sarah. She's a YouTuber with about 500,000 subscribers. A few months ago, she was feeling burnout, constantly checking her phone, obsessing over analytics, the whole 9 years. So she decided to try a digital detox. She started small, just 30 minutes of phone-free time each morning. Then she installed one of those distraction blocking apps, and you know what? Her content actually got better. She was more focused, more creative. Her viewers noticed the difference. Her engagement went up even though she was spending less time online. But it's not just about apps and schedules, it's about changing your mindset. Start seeing your attention as a valuable resource, because it is. Every time you click on a link, watch a video, or scroll through social media, You are spending that resource, so spend it wisely. Here is a crazy thought. What if we started treating our attention like we treat our money? We budget our cash, right? We save it, invest it, and try not to waste it. What if we did the same with our attention? What if we had an attention budget? Imagine waking up each day with the set amount of attention to spend. How would you use it? Would you blow it all on TikTok videos of people doing silly dances? Or would you invest it in learning something new, creating something awesome, or connecting with people who matter? This isn't just about being more productive, it's about reclaiming your life. It's about being present in the moment instead of constantly chasing the next dopamine hit. It's about rediscovering the joy of deep focus and real connection. Alright, so we talk about digital detox and setting boundaries, but there is another powerful tool we need to discuss: mindfulness. Now I know what you're thinking. Mindfulness? Isn't that just for hippie or yoga instructors? Trust me, I used to think the same thing, but here's the deal. Mindfulness isn't just about sitting cross-legged, it's about being present in the moment and really focusing on what matters. As content creators, we are always chasing the next viral video, we are constantly multitasking, juggling a million things at once. But what if I told you that slowing down could actually make you more productive? It sounds crazy, but it's true. See, when we practice mindfulness, we are training our brains to focus. It's like going to the gym, but for your attention span. And just like working out, it gets easier the more you do it. Before you know it, you will be able to concentrate for longer periods without getting distracted by every little notification or random thought. But here is where it gets really interesting. Mindfulness doesn't just help you focus better, it can actually make your content more meaningful and authentic. When you are truly present, you start noticing things you might have missed before. Maybe it's a unique perspective on a trending topic or a creative way to connect with your audience. I remember when I first started practicing mindfulness, I was skeptical to say the least, but after a few weeks I noticed something weird. My video ideas were getting better. I was coming up with more original concepts, and my content felt more genuine. It was like I had tapped into a wellspring of creativity I didn't even know I had. Now I know what you're thinking. That's great for you, but I don't have time to sit and meditate for hours every day. Good news, you don't have to. Even just a few minutes of mindfulness practice can make a big difference. Here is a simple exercise you can try right now. Take a deep breath. Now focus on how it feels as the air moves in and out of your body. Notice the sensation in your nose, the chest, your belly. If your mind starts to wander, and it will, that's okay. Just gently bring your attention back to your breath. Do this for just 1 minute. Seriously, set a timer on your phone. Congratulations, you just practiced mindfulness. Not so scary, right? And the best part is you can do this anytime, anywhere. Waiting for your video to render? Take a mindful minute. Feeling stressed about your latest upload? Breathe mindfully for 60 seconds. Here is another quick exercise for you busy content creators out there. Next time you are filming or editing, try to really focus on what you are doing. Notice the way the light falls on your face, the sound of your voice, the rhythm of your edits. Be present in the process. You might be surprised how much it improves your work. But mindfulness isn't just about these formal practices. It's about bringing the same quality of attention to everything you do. When you are interacting with your audience, be fully present in those conversations. And here's the wild thought. What if we applied mindfulness to how we consume content, not just how we create it? Instead of mindlessly scrolling, what if we choose to engage deeply with a few pieces of content each day? How would that change our experience of a digital world? Now, I'm not saying mindfulness is some magic cure. It's not going to instantly make you a YouTube superstar or solve all your problems, but it's a powerful tool in your arsenal. It can help you navigate the crazy world of content creation without losing your mind or your authentic voice. We have talked about the attention trap and how we break free, but what happens when we actually make that shift? Let me tell you, it's pretty amazing. I have seen content creators completely transform their lives and their work by changing how they approach this whole attention game. Take my friend Sarah. She used to be glued to her phone 24/7, constantly checking likes, comments and analytics. Her content was okay, but nothing special, to be honest. Then one day, she decided to try something different. She turned off all her notifications and set specific times to check social media. At first, she was terrified she would miss something important, but you know what? The opposite happened. With fewer distractions, Sarah started coming up with better video ideas. She had more time to research and plan her content. And here's the crazy part. Her audience noticed. They started leaving comments like, "Your videos feel different lately, more authentic." Her engagement went up even though she was posting less. But it's not just about individual success stories. This shift towards more mindful content creation is changing the whole game. When creators focus on quality over quantity, everyone wins. Viewers get better content, creators feel less burnout, and the entire platform becomes a more positive place. Now I know what you're thinking. That's great and all, but how I'm supposed to grow if I'm not constantly hustling? Trust me, I get it. But here's the thing, sustainable growth comes from building real connections with your audience, not just chasing numbers. Would you rather have 1,000,000 followers who don't really care about your content, or 10,000 true fans who are genuinely invested in what you do? Now listen, it's not just about getting attention. It's about keeping it. And you do that by creating stuff that's actually worth people's time. But it's not just creators who are changing their approach. The whole internet is evolving. Have you heard about Web 3.0? It's this new model of the internet that's all about decentralization. Basically, it's shifting power away from big tech companies and giving more control to users. This could completely change how attention is captured and monetized online. Instead of a few big platforms controlling everything, we might see a more diverse ecosystem where creators have direct relationships with their audiences. No more worrying about algorithm changes or platform rules. Imagine a world where your audience can support you directly without a middleman taking a cut. That's the potential of Web 3.0. It's not just a tech buzzword, it could be a game changer for content creators. But here is where it gets really interesting. All these changes, mindful content creation, Web 3.0, the shift towards quality over quantity, they are all pointing to something bigger. It's like we are entering a new era of the internet, the one where attention isn't just a commodity to be bought and sold. Instead of trying to grab as much attention as possible, what if we focus on creating meaningful experiences? What if instead of asking, "How can I get more views?" we ask, "How can I add more value to people's lives?" It's a totally different mindset. It might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't the whole point of content creation to get attention? But here's the thing, when you stop obsessing over metric and start focusing on creating genuinely good content, the attention often follows naturally. It's like that old saying about happiness. The more you chase it, the more it eludes you. But when you focus on living a good life, happiness tends to show up on its own. Maybe attention works the same way. The less we desperately grab for it, the more freely it comes to us. So here's the wild thought to wrap your head around. What if the key to standing out in the attention economy is actually paying less attention to it? What if by stepping back from the constant noise and hustle, we actually end up creating something that cuts through all the clutter? Alright, so we have been through a lot in this video. We have seen how our attention is basically the new gold rush, how it's messing with our heads, and even some ways to break free from this crazy cycle. But now it's time to get real. It's time to take control. Let's talk about some key strategies to manage your attention. First up, notifications. They are like little attention vampires, sucking away your focus one buzz at a time. So here is what you do. Turn them off. Yeah, I know it sounds scary, but trust me, the world won't end if you don't see that like on Instagram the second it happens. Next, we need to talk about routines. I used to think routines were boring, but they actually like superpowers for your brain. Set specific times for checking social media, responding to comments, and all that stuff. It's like giving your attention a schedule, and it works wonderfully. And here is a big one. Prioritize meaningful interactions. Instead of trying to respond to every single comment or DM, focus on the ones that really matter. Have real connections with your audience, with people. It's not about quantity of interactions, it's about the quality. Now let's talk about platforms. You know, not all social media is created equal. Some platforms are basically designed to suck you in and never let go. Others are a bit more chill. So here is a radical idea. Choose platforms that actually align with your values and goals. If you are all about deep, meaningful content, maybe TikTok isn't your best bet. If you are into visual storytelling, Instagram might be more your speed. The point is, we don't have to be everywhere. Pick the platform that feels right for you and your content. And here is something that might blow your mind. This whole attention economy thing, it's not all bad. See, if we approach it in the right way, it can actually be an opportunity for some really authentic engagement. Instead of seeing it as this big scary monster trying to eat your brain, think of it as a chance to connect with people who really care about what you have to say. It's not about getting the most eyeballs on your content, it's about getting the right eyeballs. I remember when I first started out, I was obsessed with likes and views. I would post anything I thought would go viral, but you know what? It felt empty. My content had no soul. It wasn't until I started focusing on making stuff I actually cared about that things changed. Suddenly, I was connecting with people in the real way. And guess what? My channel actually grew faster. So here is the deal. Your attention is valuable. It's time to start treating it that way. Every time you pick up your phone, every time you open an app, you are spending that valuable resource. So the question is, are you spending it wisely? Think about it like this. If your attention was money, would you just throw it all around randomly? Of course not. You would invest it in things that help you grow, that make you happy, that align with your goals. So why not do the same with your attention? Start asking yourself some tough questions. Is this app really adding value to my life? Is this content I'm creating truly meaningful? Am I engaging with my audience in a way that matters? What if we all started valuing our attention more? It could change the whole game. We could create a digital world that's less about clickbait and more about quality. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. Breaking all habits is tough. Trust me, I still catch myself mindlessly scrolling sometimes. But every time we make a conscious choice about where to put our attention, we are taking back a little bit of control. So here is my challenge to you. For the next week, try to be more intentional with your attention. Before you open that app, before you start creating that content, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this really worth my attention? Is this how I want to spend this valuable resource? So, we have been on this wild ride through the attention economy, right? We have seen how our focus has become this crazy valuable thing, how it's messing with our heads, and even some ways to break free. But here's the deal. Your attention isn't just valuable, it's priceless, and it's literally shaping your life, moment by moment. Every time you scroll, every video you watch, you are spending a bit of yourself. You can't get that time back. So the big question is, are you spending it on stuff that matters? I'm not saying you need to go all monk mode and meditate 24/7, but maybe it's time to start treating your attention like the valuable currency it is. Invest it in things that help you grow, that make you happy, that actually mean something to you. Your attention is worth millions. It's time to start acting like it. So what are you gonna focus on today? If you found this video interesting, you can watch this one, and I promise you, you will learn something new. I was your host Kristian, you've been you, bye bye.